Welcome back to the Creative Boom podcast. I'm Katie Cowan, the founder and editor of Creative Boom, which I launched in 2009 to support the creative community. My next guest is Rankin, the British portrait and fashion photographer and director, best known as founder of Dazed and Confused, and for his photography of people like David Bowie, Madonna, Bjork, Kate Moss, and his smiling portrait of Her Majesty the Queen. I popped along to Rankin's new studio in Stratford, London, to find out more about what he's been up to. So where did it all begin for you?
It all began really at college. I was studying to be an accountant, and I was in halls of residence with a lot of art students, and they were having a really great time. They were having a brilliant time, and they were talking about stuff that I was really interested in, but I didn't have any connection with art at all. I mean, there was no art in my family. My family were very almost a working class family that had done well, but there was no culture. We didn't go to galleries, we didn't go to exhibitions, we didn't really have any awareness of it. And my dad left school when he was 15 because his father had died.
Right.
So his education was all from the Reader's Digest, which was really interesting because it was quite a broad education, and he was very knowledgeable, and he was very strangely quite political, even though he was quite right wing. He was quite he was kind of like quite honourable in a really strange way. So he was really hated racism. Very we lived in Glasgow, which is quite sectarian. I don't even know how many people know it's sectarian, but it's like if you're Catholic and Protestant, it's never the twain shall meet, especially in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
When I was born. And he just wouldn't have it. He's Protestant, he moved in a Catholic road. He wouldn't support either Rangers or Celtic, which are the two teams.
Interesting.
He was like, Queen's Park.
Right.
Just wouldn't have any of it, didn't believe in any of it. So he was really moral in a really strange way, but because his dad had died, he was very into his family and very kind of like family centric. We came first and everybody else was second, but there were some serious racism going on in Glasgow in the 60s and 70s, and my dad was like, no way, you just don't get involved in that. And I got told off because you learn stuff from next door neighbours or from other people's parents, and my dad was just like, you don't say those types of things about anything. So he started me off quite young at being quite independent, very different from everybody else in my thinking, and I totally owe most of who I am to my family and the way that they brought me up. Because when I decided to do photography and not do accountancy, which he really wanted me to do, he didn't talk to me for a year, but I would never have done it if he hadn't brought me up in this quite unique way to really believe in myself and really believe that you should be an honest and honourable person. So, I started there. So I came out of our accountancy college. I moved in back to my parents, which was really hard work.
Yeah, for any of us.
Especially when they wouldn't talk. My dad wouldn't talk to me. I mean, my dad wouldn't let me be a vegetarian, which was really interesting when I was 16.
Because he was of the thinking that meat's good for you.
It's like, you can't say, he's like, unless you eat this meat, I'll just keep putting it out until you eat it.
Gosh.
I mean, he was like that. He was quite a strange guy. So, he gave me that belief, and then I started to take pictures because I had this very real love of the cinema because of him again, and the real love of BBC Two Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon drama.
Yeah.
My dad used to play golf, and my mum ended up playing golf as well, just so she could hang out with him. I used to have the house to myself on a Saturday and a Sunday, and I used to watch a lot of films. So when I saw these art students when I was, 20, I was like, wow, this is great. What they do is great. And the only thing, because I couldn't draw, the only thing I thought I could do, I reckon I could do photography. And for some reason, I just always had this idea I could do photography. So
it was as simple as that. You picked up a camera.
I literally picked up a camera. That was the weirdest thing. I picked up my mate's camera. I went out for an afternoon. I took a picture. I thought it was magical.
What was the picture?
It was a little kid actually at a swimming pool, just standing on the side of the swimming pool, and I still got it actually, and it was magical, the moment of taking the picture. But the real magic was when I processed it and saw the negative and saw the picture and went, I did that. And it was that kind of connection between, I could use this to kind of get my ideas about the world, how I see the world, into pictures. And then it was almost like a light bulb moment, and then that was it. I was obsessed, and I'm the kind of personality that if I get obsessed by something or someone, I'm just all out crazy about it.
So it's the ideas that drive you.
It's the ideas, yeah. It is the ideas that drive me, yeah. What drives me is the creative process, really. I love concepts. I love ideas. I love the kind of the conceit that you can make something that makes someone else think or feel something. That's what drives me the most. And then I guess, like, with photography, I love the fact with photography I'm still learning. Even now I'm still learning stuff about photography, and I know I'll continue learning about photography till I die, and I'll never really, that's like my real love is photography, and I dream about photography, that it's just there, it's part of me, so much a part of me. I love light, I really love light. So I'm only really now kind of, as I hit sort of 53, kind of stopping and thinking, God, like, thinking about this stuff more, really. It's only in the last 5 years that I've been thinking, what is it that I love and why do I love it? And I've just been obsessed by it, like, from when I picked up that camera. So, yeah, it's been great in so many ways, because through photography, and you asked about interviews earlier, about do I like doing interviews? It's like, they're like therapy, I think. And there's a great line in a film called The Two Popes that one of them says, you're very arrogant. And he said, he's from Argentina, I think. And he says, yeah, Argentinians are so arrogant that they would go to the top of their own ego to jump off if they were going to kill themselves. And that's very much a description of me. Like, I'm very, I have to be really careful with my ego, because it's got me into a lot of trouble in the past. So I've got a whole way of dealing with it, which is doing interviews, doing therapy, stuff like that. So I love doing that. And I love, in a way, what I do is kind of similar, but as a photographer. So whether that's with people or whether that's with, projects or subjects or whatever.
So what sparked this self-reflection, if you've been looking back for the last couple of years? What was the kind of turning point?
I think age probably is the first, but, when you do a book, for example, a retrospective book, you do reflect on your career. It's a natural thing to do. And when you're getting older, you've got more work. So you're literally kind of looking at it all going, what did that, and people are asking you questions as well. People ask you questions about your old work. So you're going, well, I did that because of that, and I did this because of this, and you end up having this self-reflection. You can't really help it, and it's a really interesting thing as a photographer, because it's so autobiographical, but you're not in any of the pictures. Your presence is there, but you're not there. So it's quite fun to find old pictures of me on shoots at the end of a film, or an assistant's taken one as a test frame, or just to make sure the camera's working or flash is working or something. So I love seeing things like that, but I think it's just that it's literally it's age meets kind of people thinking you've got like a body of work that you have to start taking seriously because it's important. I wouldn't have the presumption to think that it's important, but other people are beginning to think like that. So you have to start kind of, and I'm also a bit of a weirdo, because I really like the work. For me is about the work. It's a really strange thing. Even though I'm in there, I really want the work to have its own, to go out into the world and have its own life. I get really excited about that. So when people start talking about the body of work, or having an archive or whatever, you start to kind of, I don't know, it just becomes a bit serious.
Yeah.
Which is hard. I find hard, because I don't particularly like to take life too seriously, but
is it a case of you've always worked
sorry, these are difficult questions.
Sorry.
No, I'm joking. I'm trying to get into a rhythm on it, because it's like,
it's difficult, isn't it, talking about yourself?
Yeah, sometimes I find I can find it really easy, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm at a really sort of interesting point in my career. I'm becoming, a creative. So, we're becoming a creative agency.
Yeah, that's changing for you.
Everything's changing, and I love change. I've always loved change. I'm not scared of it at all.
Yeah.
But I see myself, talking about my dad, I see my dad in myself more and more and more, like his thing about money, or his thing about, respect, or stuff that I'm just going, shit, that was like, I used to have a real go at him about this stuff, and I'm kind of trying to fend it off without,
take the best bits, but
try and not be crazy about certain things that he was crazy about. Like, he was really strange about money, and I can feel that kind of start to, it's like on my shoulder, it's whispering in my ear, and I'm like, don't,
what's he saying? What's he whispering?
Well, it's not him, it's his attitude of, be more careful, and that sort of stuff. And that's just the opposite of my personality. So I'm very much a risk taker.
I was going to say, you've taken so many risks. I mean,
I have, yeah.
And
some of them have been really terrible.
Well, I was going to say, that was going to be my next question.
I've crashed and burned a few times.
You've had ups and downs.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and I'm happy. I think you learn so much from your mistakes, and I really believe that that's the best way to learn, is to make mistakes. So
of course,
I'm very I'm very kind of assertive about taking the risk, but it's strange to, I've got that thing where I'm just going through a period of trying to balance between being, very like that, and being more like what my dad used to be like. It's not my natural place. It's like I said, it's instead of it being an angel or a devil, it's a little accountant going, have you thought about that? And it's like, well, yeah, of course I thought about it, but that's just not my way of working. So I love the risk.
What would you say has changed? What were you like in your career when you were, say, in your 20s and 30s?
Arrogant.
Right.
I was really arrogant, and I was really self-confident in a way which was really unappealing. Yeah. I think that's my main. I was very excited, very passionate, very obsessive, very work driven. Like I've got a succession of relationships that I was rubbish in because I was more obsessed by work than anything. And
sounds like you're quite regretful of that.
of those, some of them, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I would say sorry pretty much to every girl that I've been out with till I met my second wife.
Right.
But I've been with her for 15 years, so I mean, probably an element of that as well is, making me rethink myself and stuff like that. But
Was it bravado though? Because the industry that you've worked in is kind of
I
a
really,
bit.
I really
cutthroat.
believed it.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, I once said to a journalist, a photography journalist who's gone on to do really well actually. He said, "What's the difference between you and all the kind of other contemporary photographers?" And I said, "They're all pop photographers, and I'm actually really a rock photographer."
Amazing.
Which is pathetic. I sound like Mick Rock when I say that he said with more conviction and really believe it. But I just really thought that I was very different from everybody else, and in a way I was and still am very different from everyone else because I'm much more business orientated probably than I'd say probably most other photographers and directors. And
You spot an opportunity, don't you?
yeah, I see them. I'm not worried about the past. I'm more interested in that type of stuff.
Sure.
That's where Jefferson and I are very similar. We're very much about the future, and we were always kind of like going, what's next, and where are we going, and what are we going to do? Not like, is this good enough, and have I succeeded, or like that sort of stuff. We didn't really think about. We never thought we'd last either, as well. So we always thought we were like, let's just get the most out of it that we can because it's it can go away tomorrow. And I think it took me till I was a good 40 before I thought someone's going to find me out. That was like a big thing, so
The midlife crisis.
no, not really. It was almost like, no, I feel really confident now that I've got the skill to do it. And I think
I see. Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you meant that you got to 40 and then kind of had a kind of confidence crash.
No, I think if anything, I had a confidence crash when I was 50.
Right.
But I think that was just it. I think that's literally the old age, the fear of getting old, stepping in. No, I was really confident when I was a kid, like really confident as a photographer. But there was, I think, all that always comes with self-doubt. So, and if it wasn't like it was there all the time. It was just like, I'm getting away with murder here. This is amazing. I'm like doing this thing, and someone's going to suddenly kind of go, put you under the spotlight. And actually, if they had, the reality was I was doing really good work. So there was nothing to put under spotlight, but it's that thing is there. And
the monkey on your back.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a monkey. That's why I think people get into drugs and become big drinkers, and because you're just trying to pacify something that's about that in your head. But no, I think I was really definitely engaging. I made a lot of I pissed a lot of people off on the way up, and I probably made quite a few enemies that I really regret because it was really just being an idiot and being arrogant and egotistical. And it wasn't, I've been brought up to be very polite and to be quite honourable. It's just a bit of like, yeah, I'm here. And also it's so important. I've got no art in my background, so maybe it was bravado. I don't think of it as bravado.
Maybe you felt you had to prove yourself more than everyone else.
I definitely thought that. There's no question I thought that, like, at all. There's no question. Like, I really thought, I was very jealous of other photographers' work, very jealous, big supporter of them, and big fan of photography, but the green-eyed monster was there. And it probably left me when I was about 40. It was like, I'm okay now. 45 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're probably right, actually. Yeah. I was probably
But you've had huge successes, haven't you? I mean, you've right place, right time, but obviously driven behind with lots of talent and hard work.
Yeah, I think you can make your own luck. And I really believe that if you jump and take the risk, it's a risk thing. But definitely right place, right time, right circumstance, all those things. So.
Did you always feel then that you belonged? Because you said that you saw all these kids at college in the art and design. Did you feel like you were part of the crowd? Or?
No.
Oh, right.
And I still don't.
Oh, okay.
I think that's maybe why I kind of create magazines, because I'm looking for that gang thing. Even today, I was thinking, I just still don't fit in. I still don't feel like I fit in, especially with fashion. Actually, I feel very out on the periphery of it, and but I'm not. It doesn't bother me. It's really strangely doesn't bother me. So, and that took me a long time for it not to bother me.
So going back to the days of college when you were hanging around and you were with your mates creating these things, I mean, Dazed and Confused was something that you started back then. And it was apparently, I read somewhere, quite sporadic and printed, but it came from a love of print. When did you both look at each other and say, okay, this is taking off, we need to take this seriously? I don't know if we ever. I mean, I guess we did in the kind of noughties. I just feel like we felt we were getting away with it. Like, we loved print and we loved magazines, and we did it because we really wanted to not just. Well, a couple of reasons for me anyway. He'll always say something different because we're very different characters. But for me, it was like I loved the ownership of my own media. I loved that. I didn't want to work for other people. I loved being able to give other people opportunity. That was a massive part of it for me, and I think for Jefferson as well. I loved the actual getting the printed magazine back was like... The smell.
Like, still blows me away when I get a book back or a mag back. I love that it's a thing, like, I know it sounds weird, but it's a self-contained thing, and that has an artistic element to it that unless you've made a magazine from start to finish as the publisher or editor, you don't understand that you've created this and it's amazing, which obviously these days is, easier to attain for people, but much more, has much less value in the bigger, wider world. Although I still love it. Yeah, I mean, we never really, we just really loved that sort of idea of creating this community.
Yeah.
And this group of people, and we went from. We went from printing 5,000 copies to 3 million people looking at the website. So in a month. So it was a really incredible journey. And we were total amateurs when we started. We'd done college magazines.
Yeah.
We'd done 2 college magazines, but we didn't really know what we were doing. And because of that, we made a lot of mistakes in public. We grew up in public a little bit. But I would never trade any of that in. I wish I'd known stuff I know now back then, but it was great. And we were a gang for a good 5 or 6 years. We were a great little gang doing really crazy but quite groundbreaking stuff that no one else had ever done before, and it has shaped a lot of what's happened in culture. And I know that because I was there. So people can say, oh, other people did it. I'm like, no, we definitely did it first. Like, we were definitely the first people to do, as far as I know, a mirror cover, and everybody copied us. We did it, and then ID did it, and then Vogue did it, and we were just like, we kind of knew we had something then, and we called it Death of the Cover Star, which was a brilliant title from Jefferson. So stuff like that, like I was the first person I'm pretty sure she used plus size models. And Nick Knight did it definitely after me. He did it commercially, but we did it in Dazed very early on. I had someone crying on the cover, which, went on to be a thing. So, there were so many things that we did that when you look back at it, it's weird when you look at the work and it just feels very current still.
It does.
Present. And that's 30 years later. And I'm quite proud of that it still feels present, because the reason it feels present is because we were so far ahead, in my opinion, at the time. And I'm not just talking about me, like other people. Nick Knight did some great stuff for us. Alexander McQueen did some great stuff for us. So,
what was the craziest thing you did?
Me personally, the craziest shoot I was ever on was Courtney Love by a mile and a half. But the craziest stuff we did back then, God, so many things we did. we were not. One of them was, and it was brilliant. It wasn't my idea actually, but Kathy Edwards said, I want to put the cover image on the side of a building, like a mural, and then that's the cover, and that's like music to my ears. An idea like that.
Very creative.
That's like I was like, I'm in, and she didn't want me to do it, but I was like, that is a brilliant concept. So stuff like that, like I just love concepts, because I've been brought up and went to college and studied art, effectively studied photography as art. So everything that I was learning was semiotics and, conceptual art photography. And that really, what we did at Days was we took that and we took commercial photography and we put them together to create this kind of third meaning, which was, prevalent, pervaded everything that we did really for those, till I left, really.
Yeah.
And everything had to have a meaning. If it didn't have a meaning, why were we doing it? Was kind of our conceit, or a concept. So, it was brilliant. And I look back at it with very rose tinted glasses, but I wouldn't change anything. And I still love print, and that's why I do a magazine, because I want to be part of a gang that's doing something. And I just need to have this conversation. So I need somebody to sit opposite me and question me, and me to go, I'm thinking about masculinity. What do you think we could do around masculinity? Should we do, like I'm going to be doing in a couple of weeks a show where I'm talking about unconventional love and relationships, and I need that. It's like, it's what keeps me going. And what a lot of people don't understand is that all the commercial stuff for me is to pay for that stuff, like magazines and the studio, and the ability to do these personal projects is why I do that. But I'm not obnoxious or arrogant enough to say it's separate, because they're not separate. You can't, it's I think it's stupid to be, this is my personal work and this is my commercial. It's like, it's all work. And I'm not an artist. I don't see myself as an artist. I see myself as a practitioner. So yeah, I don't fit in really, and I don't fit in with anything. That's the weird. I don't feel like I didn't fit in at school. I don't feel like I fit in at work. I still don't fit in on set. And maybe it is bravado. That's why I do interviews, because maybe it is like a way of me just protecting myself. But
we all do it.
I'm very much about being the biggest critic of myself, as much as, I would say you've got to be biggest support of 51%, and your biggest critic 49%, so that you really are analytical about what you're doing and why you're doing things. And that goes right back to my dad. It just does go to the way I was brought up, and that's why I do feel like I should apologise to all the girlfriends, and that I just was obsessed by work, and it made me an idiot, a dick, So I've got that balance much better now.
Well, we're not who
Like
we were. We are who we are.
Yeah, we are who we are, and who hopefully we're going to be. Because I always see it as, especially with therapy, is being more self-reflective and getting better. And I think it makes your work better, and I think it makes you better, and it makes me an all-round better creative because I'm much more open to other things, other ideas, other, look, and actually weirdly, I think the mobile phone, the smartphone has been one of the most exciting but dangerous things that's come out of the last 10 years. It's flipped everything, obviously, completely. But what it's done for me has made me more reflective. Personally, I've been like reading more and trying to disconnect more and being more disciplined about thought and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's weird for me because I'm addicted to it in the same way most people are, but I'm trying very hard to discipline myself out of it. So I'm doing, making myself, consider things and think them through a bit more, which before I probably wouldn't have done quite as much. I think, the thing is that you would think that it makes me, people think I'm self-obsessed, and I'm actually not. I'm really not self-obsessed at all. I'm really kind of the opposite. Like at the weekends, I'm not thinking about my work and my career and I'm thinking about my dogs and I'm really trying to get myself out of that headspace
in that world.
Yeah, because it's unfortunately I've got this brilliant company and it's doing well, and especially in the current circumstances, it's doing really well. But that is so draining. And everyone thinks it's about you, but when you've got 80 people or 85 people at work for you, like Jefferson's got 120 people at work for him,
right?
At days, I've got 80 people, so that's 200 people that are kind of relying on us to not fuck it up. Then when you've got that, it's not really about. It's weirdly not about you. It becomes a bit more about checks and balances. So. It's very funny because people have come into business and they always think I'm going to be the crazy one. And I'm sure people have come into business and have thought I'm the crazy one, or the one that's very dictatorial. But actually, I'm always trying to learn how to balance a lot more and how to listen a bit more and that type of stuff. So I think I've come so far in doing that. So really not that self-obsessed. I'm like, actually, I love the work. It's the work that I love. It's not me that I love.
Yeah.
So when I talk about the work, when I do these interviews, it's about talking about the work and
the love of what you do.
Explain why I do what I do and all that sort of stuff.
You also love people. I mean, that comes across in everything that you do.
Yeah, I love people.
And photographing them and capturing their essence, I guess.
Yeah, people say that. I mean, it's such a lovely thing for people to say, and I really, I never take it for granted, but I never really believe it. So I'm always trying to capture something, and that's the thing for me. It's like, I think if I felt I was doing it, I wouldn't be able to do it, if you know what I mean. Sometimes I can get a bit too blasé about it, and I'm like, oh shit, don't pinch yourself. but then I'll do a project.
Yeah.
And I'll push myself to do something that's outside my comfort zone. And I've been doing that. I've been doing work that's pushing myself outside my comfort zone right from the beginning. So that's my almost my happy place. It's like when I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? How am I going to make this work?
Well, they always say that you should just keep making yourself as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, and it's really true. It's really true. And you learn, this is the thing, it's like when you're 50 or, I guess even kind of plus 40, like you're still learning so much. And it's so amazing. Some of the stuff I'm inquisitive about, I'm like, wow, I had no idea that was going on. Like, for example, I read a book recently called Straight Jacket, which was about a guy called Matthew Todd, which was about being brought up as a you know, a gay guy, a young gay guy in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I knew probably 5% of it, what it was like. And that learning just made me have a whole kind of like, wow, like I've totally changed my perspective and I've got a whole new view on it. And I think that's what I love. And that the human condition is that ability to be open to change your mind and not be, you know, stuck in an opinion. So important to me. Like, I don't want to have the same opinion in 2 years as I do now. I want to be challenged. I want to be excited by, you know, what's it called? Cognitive dissonance, I think it's called.
Yeah.
They call it. So, like that stuff, that's why I hate that person on my shoulder, the accountant, going, what about be careful? Like, you know, I'm like, challenge me, challenge myself.
I call it the witch, and I just talk to her and I say, no, go away, be quiet.
Yeah, I think we've all got those phantoms or whatever they are.
We do. I think it's important to try and consider
creative people, I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of our work's out there. Yeah. So we're putting ourselves more in, you know, we're making ourselves more vulnerable, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really important to do that.
So with people that you photograph, how do you bring them out? What's the process that you go through?
Oh, now you're asking. It's different. Every setup is different. Like today, sorry, I shouldn't have eaten before I came in. Before I, you know, the shoot I'm doing today, it's a commercial shoot. The artist is just brilliant at being photographed. We're doing fun, playful, silly kind of fashion type images. They're fun. Yeah. It's very much the setup and making sure that they're happy and
they're the professional model.
Professional. They're just an artist, you know, a musical artist, but they're just really, you know, I don't have to really jump very many hoops. Yes. But when I'm taking a portrait of someone, I'll use every trick in the book to make them feel comfortable. And I'm very lucky because one of my girlfriend's friends when I was very young said to me, you have an ability to make people feel they're very present, which I didn't know I had. And she said, yeah, it's really interesting because you're so interested in what people are saying that they feel very special. And when I knew that I had that, I can turn it on and turn it off quite easily. So, because I'm genuinely really interested. So, yeah, that's pretty much it really. Like it's not a secret source. And I'm confident in my direction and I'm not scared to ask questions. So, and I'm not scared to be embarrassed within a situation or make myself look stupid to make someone feel comfortable. So, and I've become probably more sensitive to the people on set and stuff like that. So I can be a little bit more, I can be a real bastard, but I can also be really sensitive to them. So, and I think maybe the other thing is that I am just very, I'm very precise on what I want a lot of the time. So I don't know if that maybe gives people confidence or they're maybe feeling like they have to give it to me or whatever. I don't know.
You captured the Queen smiling.
I did. I did capture the Queen smiling, and I knew that in a way when I went into the shoot, I knew that was what I wanted, but I didn't know I was going to get it. But then I was lucky enough to see her walking down a corridor before she came into the room, and she was with a very, very tall footman. and they were really having a laugh. And then when she came in the room, she just stopped smiling, and I was like, shit, how am I going to get her to smile? And luckily, and it really is luck, because when I was photographing her, I was thinking, I'm getting amazing pictures. She's giving me everything, and really I was getting nothing. Like when I look back at the contact sheets, and I'm very rarely surprised at contact sheets, and especially in a bad way. So this time I was like, wow, she has just got such an aura. You can feel it when she came to the room. You can feel the aura. You can feel the presence. And some part of my camera fell out, the sync lead, and she laughed. And when I saw her laugh, her whole face lit up, and I was like,
No,
I'm getting that picture.
you're gonna get it.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna get that picture. And then I just started kind of making a fool of myself until I made her laugh again.
Brilliant.
And then Bailey has done an amazing picture of it that's kind of better than mine, where he's got her to laugh. But I'm absolutely sure that he saw mine and was like, I'm going to get her to laugh.
Yeah.
Even more than he got her to laugh. Because his is brilliant, and it's with natural light by a window, and it's almost a perfect picture of her, I think. And it really also always really annoys me that Annie Leibovitz gets like all this praise for her photo of her, because I think her photo of her is shit. And they go, she was the first American. I'm like, no, she wasn't. David Montgomery photographed her in the 60s. What are you talking about? You don't know your shit. David Montgomery did photographs of her with her corgis and in front of a 3-bar fire, which is probably the most casual picture that was ever taken of her. It's brilliant. But yeah, I knew I wanted that picture, and then all the kind of things came together. And I've been taking pictures every day at that point, probably for about, I would say, 10 years. Every day, like in a studio every day. I am a workaholic, and I was, shooting all the time. So I learned all of these tricks that sometimes work.
Yeah, absolutely. And was there anyone that surprised you that you took their portrait of, and they were sort of, unexpected?
I think everybody surprises you in a way, because they're human beings like that. It's the thing that with famous people that people don't really get. And that's the thing with the Queen. In fact, she's famous not because she's chosen to be famous, but because she's been born into fame. She didn't choose it. So, but she's still a human being. So you've got to always remember that people, like, I think it's funny when people put people on pedestals, because I'm like, they're humans. Like, they want to be treated as humans. No one really wants to be put on a pedestal. Really. People like it maybe for a couple of hours, but like in real life, they want to be treated as normal people, because if you are like that all the time, it's very boring.
Yeah.
Madonna does not like being treated like Madonna 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when I met her, she said, I've chosen you because you make it look like people are enjoying having their photograph taken by you. And I'm like, well, hopefully they are, But I was like, what, I'm a stand-up photography comedian now, like, make people laugh. But I'd love to be a stand-up comedian. I'm just not funny enough. But yeah, it's about humans. So I'm always a bit surprised by people, because they've got such an interesting persona in the media, which is totally fabricated 90% of the time. By them, or mainly by the media, and like so many of them are just delightful. Like Gordon Brown is the most delightful man I think I've ever met. He's absolutely charming.
I've heard that.
Funny,
Yeah.
eloquent, like brilliantly, chatty, fascinated by people. And so he's probably the one that surprised me the most. Gorbachev was like that as well. Really funny. Really, really funny, really made me laugh, and really pokey. Bailey, I love Bailey. I generally love most people, so.
What happens when you come across a musician who's like very creative? So somebody maybe like Bowie or Bjork or Madonna, and do they want to get involved in the creative process, or do you just sort of and let them sort of be part of it, or do you sort of say this is my vision? And
no, I'm a collaborator. Like my whole shtick, as they would say, is about collaborating with the person. And I very early on started to get people's permission a lot longer before it became normal to do that. I would be like sending contact sheets, showing Polaroids. That's why I love digital, because it feels like you can collaborate and work together on something. So, but some people want to be told. That's the other weird thing about what I do. Like some people want to be given very specific direction and given and pushed and pulled and all of that stuff. And I find that much harder to do, because I'm like, let's do this together, let's make something together. And I'm surprised sometimes by PRs when they accuse you of not being cool with someone. Like I remember that one PR said I made someone cry, and I'm like, I really promise you that I'm not that person. Like stuff like that. Or one PR said to me, oh, I can't use the picture of this person in a book because they don't look like that anymore. They've grown up. And I'm like, yeah, it's called a retrospective book. It's not about now, it's about the past.
Yeah.
Stuff like that all surprises me. But generally, the people that I photograph, especially A-list people, they're just amazing. Like there's no...
Very professional.
Yeah, very professional. There's no downside to them, really. Like there's no... I can feel... Because I think I did something called Rankin Live. I have this sixth sense when someone's not comfortable. So I can feel it very quickly if there's something wrong. And I've got another thing that I call set etiquette, which is I'm very aware of what's going on my set. Like if something's happening on set, I can feel it generally that it's happening, and I know something's going on. Mm-hmm. So, but definitely if someone's not comfortable, I'm not comfortable, and I don't work well under those circumstances. But at the same time, I've been doing it for 30 years. And the other thing I would say about famous people is you can't, my 2-hour meeting with them or 5-hour meeting with them does not define who they are as people.
No, exactly, no.
At all.
No, because we all have off days, good days and bad days.
And you've got to really give that. And I've met some people who've had some off days, and I've had some off days.
We all have, yeah.
It's like we Ken Loach actually said to me that it's our job to be happy, and positive. And I'm like, it is our job, but sometimes it's really hard. And
there's a pushback on that feeling, actually, that, there's too much of a conversation about, we have to be happy all the time. We have to live our best life. We have to hustle. And I think that was all kind of the last decade. Whereas this decade, I feel like the conversation's changing. The theme in the creative industries that I'm getting is that people are now saying, well, actually, no, it's good enough. I'm good enough. What I'm doing is okay. And it's all right for me to fail. And it's all right for me to talk about all this stuff I'm going through. And people are starting to be more honest. And I think that's so refreshing.
It is refreshing. And it's really important as well. Definitely. And I'm not going to excuse myself by saying I had off days, but I did have off days where I was a dick.
Yeah, but we've all been dicks.
Yeah, the thing about being a photographer, I guess, or a director is that people do look to you to be a leader. So, if you compare it to stuff that's like, I don't know, like serious, like being a doctor or being a pilot or something, you've got to bring your A game every day. But I'm not excusing myself at all. I'm just saying, I'm being honest about it and going, there were days when I just wasn't the best person I could have been, but I tried to not do that anymore, so I tried very hard to not do that anymore, because I love people. So, and I did a couple of things. Like I did a trip to Congo with Oxfam, and it really changed me, dramatically.
You saw a lot out there.
I just realised that I lived in a bubble.
Yeah.
And I feel quite down to earth, but I live in a bubble. And I take that bubble for granted. And I also did a project called Alive in the Face of Death, and about people who were terminally ill, and that again was like a slap in the face. And I love those slaps in the face. They're like the wake up calls. They're, you know, be a more kind, considerate stuff that just reminds you to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're really important to me. I always say that I got more out of going to the Congo and Kenya than anything I did for anybody. Any money I raised, I personally got more out of it because I learned to stop being a fucking dick, and to try and see the world with a bit more perspective. But again, I don't understand. People go, why do you do the charity stuff? And I'm like, some people think I do it to get notoriety. And I'm like, no, I do it because I'm just trying to balance the books here, guys.
Yeah, you can.
I can, and it's so easy for me to do it. And I love trying to help
that comes
wherever
from
I can.
From your parents. Yeah, and your dad.
Parents.
Yeah.
So, like my mum used to say that I couldn't walk past somebody begging. I couldn't walk past somebody begging in the street without saying we've got to give them some money. And it's like, that was from the age of 3, so that's just inbuilt in me, and I can't change that. I can't, people can sort of criticize me for it, but that's just me. And I do it because I can, and because I think the books need to be balanced. When you're that successful and do that well, however much it's about how hard you've worked, you can't take it for granted, and it does go away. It does go away, and you have to really kind of pinch yourself and remind yourself that you're lucky every day. So, and I try and do that as much as I can. And it's really interesting because it's never the photography that brings me down. Like, I love it's the peripheral stuff, the business stuff, the personalities, the normal office stuff that everybody goes through is the stuff that I find it hardest to deal with. I find it very hard to deal with, pressure and all that sort of stuff. I'm not very good with that stuff. So
you're happiest in the studio.
I'm happiest when I've got a camera and I'm taking pictures and I'm, trying to do something that I love. And in fact, people say that if I'm not in my studio in Kentish Town, it's a much better experience because, I'm focused in here. I'm more focused. I've not got people asking me questions and all of that sort of stuff.
You can just be creative.
I can be present, as opposed to being pulled apart like by questions. And it's of my own making. I can't, again, something I can't sit here and go, oh, poor old me, because I've made this situation and I've got to control it and try and make myself positive throughout of it. But I just wanted to say it's not the photography or the filmmaking, because it's not that. It's the other stuff, and probably myself as well. Part of me being, I don't know, not happy sometimes.
Yeah. Quite normal.
Not happy. Yeah, I always find because I'm very, very lucky because sleep always makes me feel better. So if I sleep really well, I always tend to wake up in a really good mood. And it's if I ever get that kind of darkness, which I'm not, and I'm so glad I'm not a depressive, because I feel for people that get that depression. I really feel for them because I can feel I'm on the edge of it occasionally. And I can feel where it could take me so easily, and I'm like, go to sleep. Don't drink.
Yeah.
Don't drink.
That causes anxiety.
That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah. Get
to bed and sleep, and it always helps me. Like, without exception, I've never. So because I've done sleeping pills and drink, and none of them work. It's like you've always got to find your own healthy way of getting through it. So I'm very positive about that now. But yeah, God, I feel if you get it, like, I feel so sorry for you, because like I know where I'm that close to it, I'm like, whoa. I couldn't do this every day. I couldn't do what I do actually.
No.
If I had that there.
Yeah, yeah.
My wife's like, you're going to that place,
Dark
aren't you?
place.
Yeah, and I'm like,
you have to bring it back.
I'm like, you should just leave me. I'll try and watch a film, or I'll try and read a book, or
go back to that happy place.
Get some sleep, and I know some people that at work have it, and I've got just total compassion and empathy for them, because I'm like,
it's not a nice thing to go through.
No, it's not good. It's not good.
Well, let's wrap this up, and I'll just ask you one final question.
Yeah.
So you were saying before, if you could go back and talk to that young lad, I mean, what would you say to a young Rankin?
I'd probably just say be nicer, be a bit less full of yourself, and try and be a bit more respectful, because your anger and frustration are coming from somewhere that really you can sort out. I always used to have kind of a feeling of like I was very honest with myself, but actually I just didn't see what some of the problems were. And one of the problems, and it's such a stupid, and it sounds quite childish, is I just didn't think people were different from me. I thought we were all very similar. Being a photographer, that's weird, being what I do, but I think it was more my emotional sort of moral position was that everybody should feel the same and do the same, right? And when I learned that I was here and people were down here, and everybody was absolutely completely different and just have different setups, it was like a light bulb moment again for me. And when I kind of went to this therapist, and she said, she was like, why'd you get so angry about certain things? And I said, I just don't know. And then she broke it down for me, and I went, oh my God, like that's why I'm that type of person. And then once I got that, you
can work on it.
I could work on it and try and work myself through it and all of that sort of stuff. So I would probably say to that kid, like, just don't, it's actually not worth it, because it doesn't get you anywhere. So be nicer and try and deal with these weird anger things that you've got, which actually make sense, but really don't make sense at all, So.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Creative Boom podcast with me, Katie Cowan. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review or subscribe at creativeboom.com/podcast.